What's up YouTube, it's Matthew here and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk about some of the books that I read within the past 12 months from first getting my first wholesale deal. Now, before we go on, be sure to like this video, subscribe, and comment down below on what books you are reading or what books have helped you in your wholesale real estate business. Now, obviously, I'm not a huge avid reader, but I found out that most successful entrepreneurs read every single day. So I started implementing that within the past year, and it has really helped my business within this past year, from first getting my wholesale deal to just reading about 10 pages every single day. And now I probably read about, I think 12 or a little bit over 12 books. So it's not like I'm reading a book a week or anything like that. I'm not at that level. I know myself, so I take my time. And so if you all are interested in any of these books, I'll try to put, the name in the description and the authors down below. So some of these books are more mindset related. Some of them are real estate related. And so it all depends on the different ones. And so with these books right now, I'm just going to go in order from when I first started reading, like the very first book I read, till ones that I'm currently reading at the moment. Oh, snap. Okay. Very first book I read was, where is it? This one. I read this one. Little secret. All right, you all. So I kind of put them in the order from the first to what I'm currently reading now. I think I got the order correct, but I may not be 100%. So the very first book that I read when I got into wholesaling real estate, I ordered this book. I just Google search wholesale real estate books. And this was the first thing that came up. It says, if you can't wholesale real estate after this, I've got nothing for you. So this is by Todd Fleming. It just shows you the basics of wholesaling if you don't understand it. Because on YouTube, you can have tons of videos, but you still don't understand the step-by-step process. And in this book, he really lays that out perfectly. And so I highly recommend this one. It has a wholesaling business and everything like that. But yeah, it was a really simple book, and it gave you great tactics on like how to find a title company and different things like that. So this was the first book. And then the second book that I read was, obviously, I guess this is like the Bible of all business books, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. So a very informative book, a very mindset driven book where you think about it and you actually act upon what's in your mindset. So it's not all about like, oh, it's in your mind, it's all this fluffy stuff. No, it actually teaches you, hey, you got to bring out what's in your mind and make it a reality. Some really good chapters. They have this really long bad chapter, and I think he says you can skip it, but I just read it because I went to finish everything. I think it was called Organized Planning, but it was still pretty good. Yeah, he actually has really good chapters in this book about like faith, desire, imagination, knowledge, and he actually has this good chapter called on sexual desire and how you can use that to channel your ambition, and you're persistent, and you being consistent. Like that same energy, just use it in a better way in your business. So this is like the Bible of business books, entrepreneurship, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Next one is obviously, this is another OG, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It opens your eyes to real estate investing, how to have money work for you, which is this main component to me of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He lays it out. He's very real in his book, Robert Kiyosaki, as you all know. And yeah, eventually I do want to hold some rentals. That's the plan. So I'm working on that right now. But yeah, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, everyone knows about that. And then the compound effect was the next one I read. So it just talks about little steps make big impact. You may not see it immediately, even with negative small steps, because like the things we do negatively, like, oh, I won't read today, I'll read tomorrow. But that over time can mess up your business. But in the same way, hey, I'm going to read today. You may not see the immediate impact of reading or cold calling or doing these things, but over time it works. Just like in marketing, if you're wholesaling real estate, you always send out your mail, you always cold call every time, because let's say you skip a month, 3 months down the line, your pipeline will be completely dry, because that's when you actually can close the most likely when you first get in contact with a seller. It's like 3 months later. So compound effect, really good. Next one, Richest, Mann in Babylon. Very good book. It's very story based, as opposed to a lot of these other books that I read. So it was really easy to read. Very thin book, less than 100 pages. It just talks about just different money principles, like not getting in debt, paying off your debt, saving your money, saving 10% of your profit. And I actually read about Profit First, where we'll talk more about that. But yeah, very good book if you want to get started. I actually recommend people, if they're first starting with entrepreneurship business, to read this book, because it's very small, it's easy to read. But yeah, Richest Man in Babylon. It just teaches you the basics of, hey, how to manage your money. Next one, I kind of went outside entrepreneurship in a way, but it still applies, called Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. He's just talking about how, yes, hard work, desire is important, but he also talks about how other things contribute to people's success, like where they were born, what their mothers or fathers do for a living, and actually what day you were born too actually impacts your success and different things like that. And so it's just helped me realize, hey, sometimes there's things outside of myself that contribute to my success. So I have to make sure, I'm a well-rounded individual. So Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell. Very, very easy to read too, and he's a great writer. Next one I read is The 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity by Edwene. She just talks about the different spiritual laws that she used to help her come from poverty over to success in her businesses. And I mean, obviously, one of the main principles that people talk about here is tithing, which I always believed in. Grew up believing that from especially my mom, and so I still tithe to this day. Every wholesale deal, I tithe. So I recommend you all to tithe also, and just to read this book, 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity. Next book I read was The Go-Giver, story-based book about how it's better to give than to receive, and if you concentrate on giving more to the person, you actually can create a really good business if you concentrate on the needs and finding solutions to people's problems. So The Go-Giver. Next one I read was The One Thing by Gary Keller. Now, Gary Keller is obviously the guy from Keller Williams, a huge real estate company. And he just talks about how concentrating on one thing is key. And focus and concentration on that thing can help you find success in this field. And so to always stay in your own lane, yes, let people bring you ideals and inspire you, but know your lane and stay in it and focus on it until you succeed in it. Just like picking your marketing channels in your wholesale business. Concentrate on one marketing channel, stick to it, and master it. The One Thing, Gary Keller. Next thing I read was Profit First by Michalowick. This is just about taking 10% of all your revenue and just putting it in a separate bank account and saving that money. And he talks about how eventually you will take that out for either like emergencies or just for yourself, if you need to go on a vacation or something. So I implement this after I read this book of just taking 10% of every wholesale deal that I make, and I have a separate bank account, a separate high yield savings account that I put money in, and I haven't touched it since reading this book. And so I have some savings in that. And so, because in honest, if you take 10% out, you have 90%. Just deal with that money to pay off your expense. Even if you're in debt, he tells stories of people in debt and that they are able to still take out 10% profit. So Profit First. Next one I read, amazing book. This is probably one of my favorite books out of all the books, was Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. It just talks about negotiation. He talks about mirroring, labeling, open-ended questions, giving like odd numbers for offers and different things like that. So Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. Very entertaining book. And if you want to get started right away, I think this is one of the first books you should read to really motivate you and inspire you to cold call. Like if you're on cold calling if that's your main source of marketing, this really helps you with your cold calling skills. I actually implemented this cold calling and actually texting. So that's a good book. Another book I read was Eat That Frog, 21 Great Ways to Stop Procrastination and Get More Done in Less Time. So yeah, it's just basically about, long-term thinking instead of short-term thinking, because when you think short-term, a lot of times you do things, you procrastinate on things. It's just a really good book about not procrastinating, because we all struggle with that. I know I do. So this one, Eat That Frog. Next one I read was The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. Very similar to The Compound Effect, but he gives his personal story on, little steps day by day bring big change. But this one's just way more in depth. So The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. Next book I read recently was called Digital Millionaire Secrets, because I'm working on a secret project X. So this talks a little bit about that. Just to talk about how to mentor people online, basically. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later. And now I have two books that I'm currently reading. Rise and Grind by Daymond John, just about, he goes over different stories of different people who are either actresses or actors or athletes or influential people, or even people we don't even know, and what their daily routine looks like and how they rise up early and grind and how they hustle. And I know I need more of that in my business, in my life, because sometimes I get complacent, especially if you get a deal done, you're like, oh, I can relax now. But no, keep that same energy, all right? So Rise and Grind. And then Who Moved My Cheese? I haven't started reading this, but Daymond John recommends this one, and different things like that. An amazing way to deal with change in your work and in your life. So these are the two current books that I'm currently reading. So over the past year, let me see how many I read. I read 14 books. That's not bad, And I give a shout out to my friend Bernardo, because he recommended me to read a lot, and just listening to podcasts, I gave it a try. I was like, hey, I can read 10 pages a day. And so if I can do it, you all can too. If you all are interested in any of these books, I'll try to just put the names of them down below. I may try to put links. I'm not an affiliate link with Amazon. I don't think I'll do that. But yeah, these are some of the books I read. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I really encourage you all to go out there and pick a book to read during your journey in wholesale real estate. And it's good therapy too. If you have a stressful day, 3 hours of cold calling, it's good to just sit down for half an hour and read a book, or even less if you're just reading 10 pages. So once again, like this video, subscribe, comment down below on what book out of this list that you like the best. All right, I'll talk to you all later.